What's up, everybody? Bitcoin is at 89,000 and XRP is at 89 cents. Let me know in the comments, what do you think is going to happen first? $1 XRP or $100,000 Bitcoin? They're both basically tied right now. So let's see what happens. So I'm looking at the price of XRP and I'm looking at this as a third wave, right? So this is a wave one. We have a three-way pullback, wave two. And now we're going up into that wave three. Is wave three finished? It's possible. Why? Because we talked about 91 cents yesterday and I believe the day before. And I think even before that. The reason why is because when you take a trend-based fib extension, and we did this from the bottom here all the way back to the top, back down to the bottom, you can see we perfectly hit that 618, about 91 cents, right? So that is a 1618 extension of the first wave. Now that is a normal target. Now, if it was a three-wave corrective move, we would have stalled out at 74, okay? But that doesn't mean it's completely finished yet, right? So the third wave, I see we can have like 1, 2, maybe we get 3, and then we flag out in here. I would expect a little bit of resistance here at 89 cents, 90 cents. And then if we can pop up here to the 2.272 to 2.414, you're looking at about $1 to $1.15, right? Right in there. And that could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 1, 2, all of that's 3, right? Then you get 4, then you get 5. It's hard to know exactly, right? Because let's talk about, some other ideas here. So obviously we've broken out massively, right? And by the way, the 4-day candle is going to end in about 4 to 5 hours, right? So if we go to the 2-day, that's also going to close. The 3-day hasn't closed yet, but the daily, right, obviously is going to close today. But the daily close yesterday was the highest daily close. I'll put it right there. Since back in July of last year. Okay, so it's been quite some time. So we officially have broken out of these two swing highs right here. So basically this range right here. We still have a little bit more to go, but essentially we did it, right? And this took a year. This is a 1 year pullback. This is a 1 year three-wave pullback, which took forever, right? And it was brutal, but it's all leading into something, right? It's all leading into something. So we now we have, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. And now we have 1, 2, now this is 3. How high can 3 go? Right? Hopefully it goes even higher than that. And then we get 4, and then we get 5. And then that whole thing would be wave 1 of a 5-wave move, right? So it's really hard to know because, for example, when you look at XRP the last time, we just went straight up. There wasn't really stopping it. So you don't really get any sort of wave definition per se, right? I mean, you can see, for example, back here, we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it was pretty clear. So if I took a trend-based fib extension, right, and I don't even really believe this wick, I would actually put it from here to here to here. I mean, you can see we totally smashed through all of those levels like nothing, right? And I can even put it down here. And we still smashed through all those levels, right? So what I would do is I would actually take it and I would go to log scale, right? Because a lot of times these cryptos need to be looked at on log scale. You can see we hit about the 2.272. Yeah, so we hit the 2.272. It looked really good. So if we translate that, right, to back over here. And actually, when we look at the Binance chart, we don't even have that wick, guys. So if I take a trend basic fib extension from this little tiny wave 1 down to here, look at that. We totally smashed through all of it, even on log scale, right? Because this is on log scale, so that's very impressive. So let's just take that 2.272 level that we just looked at. Okay, so if we go over here, okay, and we take a trend-based fib extension from the bottom of wave 1 to the top, back down to the bottom, you can see we're not even at the 1618 yet, right, on log scale. So I'm looking at $1.13 minimum for, if it was going to respect its log scale target, which I know it will ultimately, because, cryptos, especially when they haven't even hit their wave 5s yet, they got to be looked at in log scale. But look at remember what he said, the 2.272, that comes up to about $1.60, right? So this thing can get going, flag out a little bit, get going, flag out a little bit, and get all the way up to $1.60, right? So like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have a more substantial pullback. And then what we can do from there, depending where it stops, we don't really know yet, because anytime you have a straight line up, it's not very helpful. We could look at targets, right? And we hit the 1618, we hit 91 cents, so that's a technical target. But until we start seeing a little bit of a correction or some wave structure following that target, it's kind of like we have to just wait and see. But, if we were to get a wave like this, then I would take a trend-based fib extension from here, right, and pull it all the way up. So, for example, let's say we landed at, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative, $1.30. Okay. So then what I would do is I would take $1.30, I would go to the bottom of this wave, and I would go all the way up to $1.30. And then, depending where we correct, right, it's going to be hard to know exactly. Let's say we correct down to maybe like 94 cents or so. And that would make sense too, because you can see that lines up pretty nicely with where we are right now, right? So you definitely have some resistance in here. And look, you can see, right, with the 1618 extension, we have resistance, 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 right? So it's a key area. This is a very, very much so a key area, right? But let's say we get through that area and we keep going. So then I would look at another 1618, and that takes us to $4.58, right? So that would be the third wave. And who knows, maybe that can even get a little bit higher to the 2.272. So you have 1, 2, right? And then you get up to a 3, you pull back for a 4, and then maybe you get an extended fifth to the 1618, right? And I don't like the proportions of it, but I'm just kind of showing you what we're going to do as we venture out into eventually price discovery, right? Which means breaking above the all-time high, and the price is it's discovering where it should be. So that could be a wave 1. We flag out for a 2, and then you get the idea. But we're not even near that point yet. I'm just kind of showing you how we would gauge an accurate target, because right now the only target we can use would be the one I just showed, but we also have this one here, a trend-based fib extension from here back down to here. So the 1618 target, look at that, is $34. Now, that's pretty insane. I don't think we're going to hit that high. If we toned it down to linear scale, and you could say, well, wait a minute, I thought we were looking at log. I thought, well, that's true on the subwaves, but the actual grand cycle, especially considering that, XRP is what, $30-40 billion market cap, right? So and then there's a debate about market cap. You know, does it matter? Does it, you know, when you have all this money running through the ledger? I mean, I think it kind of does. But we could see the 1618 coming right at the all-time high. So that's perfectly hitting the all-time high. So there's definitely confluence there. All right. So that is like the bare minimum that we should get to, right? And actually, the one-to-one extension would be the bare minimum. So $2.10. So essentially, you have one wave up, one wave down, and now we should get another wave up. 1, 2, 3, right? So $2 is minimum, right? And I think we're going to go way beyond that. But I'm just kind of showing you examples of what, kind of how we look at things. So, but in other words, what's really, really, really bullish is the fact that we are starting to break above this long-term downward resistance line. You can see it right there, right? So I actually want to do as many touch points as possible. So you can see, right, from here, we have a point, a point, a point, a point, a point, a point, and a point. So we have many, many points, right? A clear breakout. And again, you can be more conservative with it and pull it up a little bit more, and you still have the breakout, right? So that's very important. So this tells me that our contracting triangle is breaking out. For example, we had one back over here. We had an A, B, C, D, and E. Okay? Same thing here. A, B, C, D, and E. At the Fibonacci retracement levels of the previous cycle. So if we take a Fibonacci retracement from the bottom down here, you can see we totally smashed through all of those retracement levels, right? So you flip it to log scale, and we got to about the 2.272. So that is absolutely amazing. And so did Dogecoin, by the way, when it went up into its fifth wave. So by the way, XRP is only in its fourth wave. So we still have a fifth wave to go. Some people can argue that, oh, this was the fifth wave, it was truncated. And, you know, it could be. But I don't think so. So if we hit the 2.272 on log scale on the first wave, then can we at least hit the 1618 on log scale on the next wave, right? So where would that take us? Well, let's take a look. So if you take a Fibonacci retracement from the top of the all-time high back down to the bottom, right? And I'm actually going to be more conservative. I'm not going to go down to the C19 low. I'm actually going to go right there. You can see where the 1618 is. It's exactly $20. Okay, so $20. Man, can you imagine a $20 XRP? So the previous wave hit the 2.272. Well, that comes in at $142. I really doubt that we're going to hit that. I don't even think we can hit 30 or even maybe 20. I think it's going to be somewhere, you know, realistically around $8 to $15. Again, it's hard to know until you have that wave structure. We need to see some wave structure to really gauge it in. But a few reasons why it could hit $20, even $30. Reason number one, largest base in crypto history. Reason number two, longest downward resistance line in crypto history. Reason number three, one of the largest, basically accumulation structures. Another reason, XRP ETF, Grayscale right? Gary Gensler, regulations, all that stuff is going to get taken care of. And then also being suppressed for so long, right? I mean, remember, the rest of the market went into a massive bull run. XRP only went into a retracement. So I always like to say, the rest of the coins go out, have a good time, they party, they drink, and then the next morning they're all hungover. Well, guess what? XRP didn't go out. It stayed home. It stayed home and it relaxed. Maybe it read a book, and it geared, and it's resting. It's resting and resting and resting in order to have its big debut. It's coming soon. So, but anyway, we have a very bullish engulfing, weekly engulfing candle. We haven't had a candle this big. Let me see here. If we look at this candle, that was about 28 cents. Okay, so what is this from the bottom here to the top? That's about 30 cents. Okay, so that's a 30-cent weekly candle. That's huge. That's a huge candle, right? How much have we gone up since the bottom here? We've already gone up about 80%, guys. 80%. So we haven't had a weekly candle like that since back, let's see, what size is this one? That's about 50 cents. So we haven't had a candle like that since back over here, which was August of 2021, guys. That was a long time ago. And then the one before that, I think this was the biggest candle during the whole market here, which was about a 71-cent candle, right? All right, and then you start looking at these candles, and I'm believing, that was an 87-cent candle. This one's huge. It's a 50-cent, 47-cent candle, but percentage-wise, it's different, right? Obviously, percentage-wise is always going to be different. So let's take a look at the small time frames and see what we got here. Wow, this is bullish, man. So yesterday, again, we were looking at this right here, which was approximately, 89 cents. The 1618, we perfectly nailed it. So my question is it finished? Well, it could be finished. It could be finished. So we have a 1, we have a 2. All of this is wave 3. Maybe we get a little bit of a wave 4, obviously, right? And then we hit the wave 5, somewhere between $1, $1.15. So there you go. That's my idea. That's what I think is happening here. Now, is it possible that the third wave is not finished? Absolutely. This third wave might not be finished yet. So we could say 1, 2, right, of the third. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait. So 1, 2, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then maybe 4 and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 1, 2. All of that's 3, right? Remember, you have subwaves in the third, and then you get 4 and then 5. Yeah, it becomes tricky, right? It becomes very tricky. So you have to really manage the small time frames. And when momentum takes over, you know what I mean? I mean, you haven't even really gone parabolic yet. And we don't really want that quite yet. We kind of want to creep up, consolidate, creep up, consolidate, creep up, consolidate. You know what I mean? We kind of just want to, move slow, right? So you can see right here, we had this, right, where you have like a pullback, you come up, you go straight, and then you break out. Well, that's exactly what happened over here. You pull back, you come up, like a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, you go sideways, and then boom, you break out. That type of structure. Now look at this. Same structure right here. So it keeps printing these structures, A, B, C, kind of goes sideways a little bit, and then boom, break out, a little bit of a triangle. So now here we are, right? It looks like, you know, what we said I think yesterday we saw 1, 2, right? 3, 4, and then 5. I think that's what we're looking at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could the fifth be finished? Yeah, it could be. I mean, for example, you know, this could be like an A, we come up for a B, and then we come down for a C, and then we hit the high. Like this, A, B, C. So 1, 2, right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, A, B, C, 4, and then 5. So, man, this is great. This is really, really good. So, let's zoom out a little bit more. Let's go back to the daily for a second. The bull market support band looks beautiful. Remember what I talked about as well with the Bollinger Bands. The Bollinger Bands were as tight as they ever been in history, right? They haven't been more tight, right? And anytime you get squeezed in here like this, because look at the structure here, right? When you compare it to something else, like, let's look at Render. See, Render has been trailing up, right? Momentum, right? You've been stalling out in here. You flag out a little bit. Yeah, you can keep going. But what did XRP do? XRP was doing this. It was going sideways. It was building a base, right? So people don't like to buy this because it's not doing anything. They would rather buy something that's going up. And then all of a sudden, XRP just breaks out. And then they start to buy it, right? So, yeah, it's all about the structure of the chart. The structure of the chart is everything. So, yeah, I think that's about it for XRP. The monthly chart, let's take a look at the monthly here. Wow, that is a beautiful, gorgeous monthly candle. Look at the RSI, guys. Look how tight the RSI was in here. It was super, super tight. It finally broke out, right? Let's take a look at a couple other oscillators. The Lucid Star. Oh my God, we just broke the Lucid Star on the monthly chart. I didn't think that was going to happen for another couple weeks. I haven't even checked the Lucid Star, but man, that is a beautiful sign. So this is really important for trend, right? So for example, you can see the Lucid Star is above the price, and then it breaks it, and now the Lucid Star is above or below the price, right? That's what we want. We want it below the price. So you could see we flipped a couple times, but the majority of the bear market is below, right? We pop our head here for a little bit, right? It wasn't even actually supposed to flip right here, but the lawsuit, you know, kind of, it pumped the price and it made it flip, but that's exactly what we wanted to see. So Lucid Star looking great. What about Theta? Like, for example, Theta is still very far away. Lucid Star is hanging out way up at 336, right? But every month it starts to drop and drop and drop. And I believe Theta will eventually hit it soon. So another indicator, Bollinger Band. So look at the Bollinger Band now. Remember, it was getting super, super tight. So for example, you can see when we had this massive explosion, what was the Bollinger Band doing before that explosion? You can see right here it got really tight. But it was only tight for just a little bit of time, right? And then it exploded to the upside. Look how tight it's been, right? It's been relatively tight for a while, right? So now you can see we have a monthly engulfing candle that's breaking above the Bollinger Band. Now, let me look at it from the weekly chart. The weekly chart is even more tight. Look at that. Wow. Look how tight that is. I mean, anytime you get really, really tight, that means a big move is coming, right? So anyways, let's get rid of the Bollinger Band. And let's look at volume. So volume is still tiny, 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 right? There's no volume yet compared to before. I mean, we got a little bit of a volume spike, but nothing too significant. But definitely one of the biggest volumes we've had since back in last summer, right? So if you look at the monthly chart on volume, you can see we're still very small, right? So in order for it to be a very significant move, we have to break above this black line. Because, for example, look at this run up here. We've had a little bit of a couple spikes. I mean, we're even lower than that. And that was way back in the day. So let's break above that. And then we also, you can see this trend line here, right? Obviously, we corrected through time, which inevitably broke the line. But yeah, I want to see a massive volume spike sometime in the not too distant future. And that'll really solidify this move. The EMA ribbon looks great. Again, look how tight that EMA ribbon got. I mean, it was just dead, like completely straight in here. And then all of a sudden, boom. So we're getting some positive momentum, definitely. Another one too is the Ichimoku cloud, right? You can see we're right up into that red cloud. We want this to sort of diverge and then flip green, right? I don't know really how to read it. I just know the basics of Ichimoku, but the idea here is to get above this cloud. So here's the big one I wanted to show you guys on the monthly chart. Look at this, guys. This is the real deal right here. This is how you know. This is the MACD, okay? This is on the monthly chart for XRP. And you can see we just had a very bullish, they call it a histogram, right? So you can see positive momentum, right? And then we flip green, and then we kind of are flat in here a little bit. We dipped a little bit, and now we pop to the upside. So similar to right here, we're going down, positive momentum. We kind of go flat a little bit, and then it kicks to the upside. So we really want to see this start kicking to the upside, and maybe we have a trend line hit somewhere in here. Okay, so I would imagine at least coming up to tag that line, right? So if we look at it with the price itself, you can see kind of where we are, right? So let's talk selling strategies. Like how do we know when to sell this thing? Well, I'm not going to really, I want to see it. I want the MACD to come up here first. And then we reevaluate the wave structure. And then we sort of, figure those things out. In due time, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, because this thing could still go, it could still be bad. It could still be, for example, like, let's talk bearish for a second. Let's say this is very bad. I don't think it is, but let's say it is. Then what's the bearish idea? Well, we have 3 down, right? We have 3 up. What comes next? 3 back down, which would be horrible. And that could totally happen. That could totally happen. We can get a 3-wave move to the upside. I don't think it would be finished yet, right? So for example, if I take a trend-based fib extension from here to here, back down to here, we haven't hit the 1-to-1 yet, right? Which is at about $1.01. So we could easily, we have 3 down, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3 to the upside. We hit about $1 right in here. And then we come back down 1, 2, 3. And then what this is 3 down, right? 3 up, and then 1, 2, 3 back down. So you have a W, X, Y. It's a running flat. And then we go skyrocketing to the moon. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but that is a serious count that we should be aware of, right? So let's see about that. All right, so another thing too is when we look at like the 2-day chart, this thing could always come back down, right, and retest the breakout area, right? So we have a big pop, we break out, we release the pressure. It could always come back down and back test, 70 cents before continuing much, much higher. So that's how I'm looking at XRP. Is it going to back test? It's hard to know. I mean, we don't have any wave structure yet. We have to sort of monitor the small time frames here. So when we go to the 15-minute chart, I mean, it's still, there's no inclination that the wave is done yet. You know what I mean? We're still trending. So unless the trend line gets broken, then we can sort of evaluate it. But like, for example, here, when we got up to here, we actually had some wave structure in here to look at. So yeah, let's take a look at another chart. Let's look at Theta. Oh, okay. Theta had a little bit of a pop. Back above $1.30. I think Theta is bullish. Why? Because look, if you go to the 4-hour chart, you can see what? 1, 2, 3, 4, extended fifth. And then it looks like to me you have a 3-way pullback. Or what you have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you come up 3, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a big ABC and then go, right? So it depends how this moves up into the retracement level. So here's point A, here's point B. Let's get to point C right here, right? So I'm pretty bullish right now. You can see, right, we have an impulse to the upside. We have a 3-way pullback, and we are building a little bit of a base in here. So what I'm expecting for Theta on the 4-hour chart is a retrace back to about $1.44, and maybe even higher than that. Because what's the whole idea here? Well, the whole idea is that, right, we have 3 up, we have 3 down. That's a Wyckoff accumulation. We have a spring. We impulse to the upside. We're back at the top of the range. And then we sort of play around a little bit, and then we go, right? So we have a bullish pullback. You can see we impulse to the upside, and now we're correcting. This is all corrective to the downside. So we're flagging out. All right, so let's look at the smaller time frames. Yeah, and you can see it much more clear here, right? We have 3, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it looks like a 1, 2 maybe. So maybe this thing's, can fire up relatively soon back to the retracement levels. That's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. So let's see how that plays. Is there any other ideas? Well, if this is, this would be a wave 1, this would be a wave 2, and then let's get a wave 3. So where can wave 3 go? Well, just like with XRP, right, we measured that extension. Let's measure Theta. So from the bottom, we'll go to the top and back down to the bottom. And we look at the 1-to-1, it's $1.90. So I'm looking at $2.30, right? So look at that. It's actually, oh, wow, look at that. Remember, we've been talking about $1.90 for a long time, right? And where is $1.90? $1.90 is right underneath all of this right in here. So that's a lot of resistance, right? So we're underneath that, right? But eventually, I think we're going to get to that 1618 at 230. So we would have a 1, 2, let's get a 3, pull back to 190 for a 4, and then go up and get a 5 somewhere up in here. But we'll get more accurate targets as time progresses. So yeah, I think Theta looks really good right now. Is there any other ideas? Well, other than this could be more complex. For example, you have a 1. This could be A, B, and C, and then we go, right? It could get more complex. So we'll just have to wait and see. But other than that, everything's fine. Let's move on here. Same thing with, like IMX, for example. Maybe this is a 1, 2, and then we fire up 3, 4, 5. XDC. Let's see here. Filecoin had a nice pop today. So there you go. Look at that. So that's what I'm expecting Theta to do. So for example, we had a wave 1, right? We had a 3-way pullback. We built a little bit of a base, and now look at that. We got back to this high here. So that's like 10 cents above where Theta is now. So what is it? $1.30. So about $1.40 soon. ADA had a nice pop to the upside, and I think it's in its 5th wave now. You can see very clearly we have a 1, 2, and then all of this is 3. We flagged out for a 4, and now we have 1, 2, 3, maybe we get 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe around, let's see where that should be at. If I take this here, yeah, we already hit the 1618, but I really don't see 5 waves yet. So again, 1, 2, 3. Maybe we come down, we back test 4, and then we come up, hit 5, or maybe around 75 cents. That would be nice. It could be finished now. There's always that chance it could be finished, right? So yeah, ADA looking really good. Let's keep moving forward. Pepe. Haven't looked at Pepe in a while, but Pepe looks bullish too. It's looks like a 1, 2, 3, and it looks like we're flagging out for a 4, and then we should come up and hit 5. Remember, this is not financial advice, guys. I could be wrong. All of these coins could go to 0. You don't know. So it's just my opinion. All right, let's look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is, it's doing pretty well. Let's look at the smaller time frames here on Bitcoin. So right off the bat, I see 3 down, I see 3 up, and I see 3 back down. That looks like a running flat, W, X, Y. And this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like a diagonal. Maybe get up a little bit higher. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Get a little bit higher here. And then maybe get, like, for example, like an ABC. And then hopefully come up and hit the high again. That would be nice to see. So, again, when we look at the 9s, right, we were on a daily 9. So that's a 9 sell, right? It doesn't mean sell. It just means, hey, the price is getting exhausted. Maybe either get a 1 to 4 candle correction like here and then continue, or it could be a reversal. I don't think it's a reversal. Worst case scenario, we pull back, right? So the 4-day chart, we also are on a 9 right now, and it is a perfected 9. And we have 4 hours until that 9 closes. So, and the reason I like the 4-day chart is because it called the top here perfectly. All of these red dots, right? Look at that. We broke above the red dots, right? Really activating the 5th wave. So yeah, I mean, we're on 2.9, so we got to be a little bit cautious. But for me, I think it's going to be more of a pullback than anything, which we're doing right now in the small time frame. So I'm looking at this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And now we're in the middle of the 3rd, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, all of that's 3. Then we get 4, and then we pop up to 5, maybe around 110 grand. That's where I'm kind of thinking here. Maybe about 110. On the high end, about 125. So I don't think it's going to land right at 100. It could, and that'll be only about 10,000 away. So if we look at the retracements, we're right now right at the 1618 at 94,000. So that could be where we're heading. is 94K, right? So let me see here. Let me make sure that's perfect. And then let's zoom in. Okay. And yeah, so maybe we come up here and we tag this area, or even this area up here, which is, I think, the 1702. And then that could be the finish of the third wave. It's hard to know at the moment. Simply because when you zoom out, actually when you zoom out to like the daily, we don't have 5 waves, right? I see a 1 2 1 2, and now this is in the middle of the third wave. So is the third wave finished? I don't think so. 1 2 3 4 5. I think it needs one more wave to the upside to finish the third wave, and then we get 4, and then we get that final 5. So 1 2, all of that's 3, then 4, then 5. So it's just we got to be patient here. We are consolidating. Notice that we ran up, we didn't dump right away, right? Nobody's selling. Who's selling, right? Everybody's hodling right now. You can tell because the price is holding steady. So let's keep it rolling here. So as far as other charts, like for example, Filecoin, alt season is not even here yet, right? And we're barely popping out of this thing. So what we want to see is a full break, just like with Theta, just like with everything else, and get back into the retracement levels. So that's what I've been saying since really July, back in July, August, since we've been building this base. I'm expecting a retrace. All right. So, because look, we had 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. That's a 7-wave crashing structure, right? You flag out a little bit, and then you break out. You flag out some more, and then hopefully we can clear that all-time high, or that swing high, because look, we have a 1 2 1 2. Build the base, build the base. Let's go. All in due time. So somebody asked for QNT. So here we go. Here's QNT. We have a 1 2 3. I'm thinking this is a B, C. It's some kind of flat here, or yeah, some kind of 3-wave move. And now we should get wave 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Pretty simple, right? But is it really simple? It's not. For me right now, I see 1 2 3 4 5, 1, and then I see 1 2 3, 1 2 3, and then 1 2 3, W X Y. So 1 3-way pullback for 2, and now let's build a base down in here, and let's go up for that third wave, and then flag out, and then get 4. So where can wave 4 or wave 3 go? Well, if I take this and drag it to there and then bring it back down, I'm looking at minimum 344. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at $344 for QNT. So hopefully that answers your question. Now, from the percentage value, all the way up there would be about 430%. Now that's just wave 3. I think you can go a lot higher than that. Again, we don't have any wave structure in the third wave to sort of determine where it's going to stall out at. But if I had to imagine, I would assume it's going to be a lot higher than that. A lot higher than that. If we take a regular Fibonacci, right, and then let's come down here. The highest I can, let's see, is that on log? I don't, yeah, so the highest I can see it going is about 1645. Okay, so that's a pretty big move from here. You're looking at almost 2,400% on the high end. That's the high end, right? Could it go higher than that? I mean, yeah, anything's possible, but that's what I'm thinking here. Now, if you wanted the ultimate high, it would be 1755. That's where I think the ultimate top would be. Can it get that high? It's hard to tell, but yeah, I think QNT is very bullish. It's been very boring lately. It's just been dying and dying and dying and dying, and it just makes people give up and leave and quit, right? But like you said, it's an ISO 2002 token compliant, right? So I think those are going to be very valuable as the utility era kicks in. So yeah, let's see how it continues here. Shiba. So Shiba is right in the retracement levels. Yeah, we just need to wait. You know, we could come down and back test. We can flag out. We can pump higher. It's really just, you know, a wait and see kind of thing. We have to wait. If we look at the small time frames, you can see we have a beautiful, look at that, guys. We have a 1, 2, right? And then we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, all of that's 3. Then we have an ABC for a 4. And now it looks like we can go up for a 5. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. So, Bome. So Bome came out, right? And it broke out, and then it came down, and it's back testing, and now it's kind of building a base on top of this. So let's see if we can get some accumulation here. So Bome is called Book of Memes. It's on the Solana network, and I guess its utility value is like it's an archive for memes, right? So none of the data gets lost for all the meme culture out there. So I think it could be worth something pretty big. Especially because when we look at the chart, you know, when I zoom out here, look at that thing, guys. Look at that. We have an impulse, and now we're flagging out in here. This is a 1, and now this is a 2. Imagine the third wave, like Shib, right, or like Doge. I mean, it already had its 3, 4, and 5 waves, right? So this one's barely starting out, and it's very, very risky. It can go all the way, and it can go to 0. But the way the chart looks to me, A, B, C, D, and E, or actually W, X, Y, X, Z, right? It's a triple correction. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Kind of building a base. This thing can really start to accelerate. That's all I'm saying. You know, so we'll see. I could be wrong, but we'll see. We'll see how popular it gets. For example, when you look at Pepe, right? Remember, Pepe had a wave 1, and then it flagged out for a wave 2. That's why I don't like to get things like this. Yes, it could go higher, but look, where's Bome at? Bome is actually right here. It's the equivalent of being right here, or even a little bit lower, like right there, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, and then you get 4, and now we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up for 5. And usually the fifth waves can get really, really extended. So I'm not saying Pepe is done. I'm saying, you know, Bome just looks like a better opportunity, but it's a lot higher of a risk, so it kind of balances itself out in a way for percentage potential versus, you know, lower market cap, not as popular. So CRV, something similar too, right? You have an impulse, you have a 3-way pullback, and then it looks like a wave 1, you get a little bit of a wave 2, and then let's go up to a wave 3. And again, you use a trend-based fib extension, and then you can measure where that wave 3 would be, somewhere up there around 50, 60 cents. Render, same thing, you know, it's it's like Theta in a way. It's got 3 up, it's got 3 down, it broke the range, it's looking for a retrace, like with most coins. Now Tia has been a little bit of a disappointment. You know, it has really beautiful wave structure, right? When we look at the overall chart here, I mean, all in all, you got a big wave 1, you got a wave 2, you're building a base, you have an inverse head and shoulders down here, and look at this 3-way pullback. You have an impulse and a beautiful 3-way pullback, and now this looks like a 1-2 of the third, so we could get 3, 4, and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that plays, but I think I like it right here for dollar cost averaging. I did buy some a little bit down in here, so I know there's a token unlock coming, but I still feel a little bit like it's gonna break this range soon. It might take some time, but this is why, you know, this is accumulation, right? It's not like, you know, it has to happen tomorrow or next week. It takes time, but I'm gearing up for that move. If you look at the smaller time frames, it actually looks bullish. Look at this. Look at this. You have a 1, 2, 3, running flat 4, and then a 5. Okay, and then it, you know, it looks like you have an A. You know, it's a little bit of a tricky, maybe a B and then a C. So 1, 2, I want to see it come up into the retracement levels, and then we can reevaluate. So point A, point B, point C. Always buy point B, not financial advice. So, you know, there's 3 points: the top, the bottom, and the retrace. The retrace is always the most challenging. But the bottom, maybe this isn't the bottom. Maybe it's got a little bit further to go. But, you know, I look at it like, you know, you cut it in half, you're sort of right in there around that 618, 702 area. I mean, so I'm expecting a little bit of a bounce here with Tia. So let's keep moving it. Near is a little bit tougher, because on one hand, you want to say like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But when you zoom in, it looks a little bit weird, you know, because you have, I'm wondering if this is A, and then this is B, and then we're going to come down and get C and then go. Definitely challenging here, because at first it looked like a descending triangle, right? But then it kind of broke out. So, and on another hand too, you're sort of in this thing here. So A, it could be B, and then you get C and then go. So you know, it's kind of a wait and see what happens. Do we break it to the upside? Do we break it to the downside? I mean, it's kind of big though. I think it's a little bit too big to be a B wave. So my intuition is it's probably going to come up and take the top. And finish that 5th wave, hopefully. So, yeah, the 5-day chart looks really nice, right? You got a flag, you're flagging out, you're breaking out. You know, this thing can get going pretty nicely. Ethereum, I haven't looked at Ethereum in a while. It's not really interesting until we break this. I mean, we're at the retracement levels, not really much to say. Do I think Ethereum's going to break out? Yes. You know, you know, you come up, you have a top, you have a crash, and you're creeping up, you're creeping up, you're creeping up, and you're just kind of creep, and you get complacent, and then all of a sudden, boom, you explode. Lots of people are still building on Ethereum. They're still, you know, hashing out the network, things like that. Flow, man, if this thing ever got back to the all-time high, that's $40. I mean, you'd be a millionaire. I mean, come on. I don't know if it's going to ever hit that. Who knows what it's going to do, but from 60 cents to $40, that's massive. I mean, that's almost 7,000% if it got there. So who knows, right? But what I do know is that we should make a retracement. So 1, 2, building a base. Let's get a retrace, figure that out, and then continue higher into the retracement levels, which is probably around here, right around there, and then reevaluate. So Dogecoin still looks great. Looks like a 1-2, 1-2. I'm expecting this thing to break out. I mean, it looks pretty bullish. Does it mean today or tomorrow? No, it might have to come back down and retest this area first. You know, again, smaller time frames we have to look at, but for time purposes, I'm just kind of skimming through the charts a little bit. Solana, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sui still pumping, guys. Well, yeah, still pumping. How high can Sui go? Well, I would take some profit at 555. That's for sure. And then, I mean, it can go to $25, really. So, ICP. Someone asked for ICP. So ICP, it looks like a triangle. Let me see the smaller time frames. Well, on the face of it, it looks like, we should get a retracement, right? We have a crash. We're building a base. So we want to break out and have a retracement. And then from there, we reevaluate, but most likely more upside. The bearish side would be that this is a 1, 2, this is a 3, this is a triangle, and then we have to hit the low, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go up for a retrace. So which one's it going to be? It's a little bit tough, but if I had to, the way things are going now, I would imagine to the upside. If I look at this smaller time frames, yeah, it looks good because we have 3 up, we have 3 down. You can see this 3-wave move, all of that consolidation, right? Bam, we take the top, and now we're sort of flagging out in here. So I really want to see the price break out. That's where I think it's going. I think it's got a little bit more correcting to do, but ultimately, it should be breaking $10 pretty soon. So, if we look at the whole thing, and I don't know if this is the whole chart, I think it is. It's really hard to know exactly because there's not a lot of price data, but I would imagine somewhere in the upward about $60 to $80 would be ideal. Because ultimately this is a wave 1, this is a wave 2, and if we get a wave 3, you measure that on log scale, especially because it should be log scale because we haven't had a wave 3 yet. Let me pull that back down. So $60 is the minimum, right? Let's go to settings. So you're looking at $94. $94 up to $289. So that's a big jump, I know, but like for example, XRP, when it went in its 3rd wave, it hit the 2.272. I don't know if it's going to hit that high. I would be more comfortable around that $60 to $100 mark. And again, we'll have more accurate targets as time progresses. All right, somebody requested Pro. Let's take a look here. First time I'm looking at this chart. So on the face of it, right, it opened up, came down. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got a wave 1. That looks like could be a 1, 2, 1, 2. But let's just focus on the first wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your 1. And then we pull back. Here's a 2. Right? And then it looks like a 1, 2. It looks like a 3, a 4. Let's come up and get 5 for a 3. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. You got to be a little bit careful too, because it could be rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, right? Now we're sort of in reaccumulation before we blast off. So maybe build a little bit of a base here. What I like about it is you got a beautiful cup, right? It's got a nice cup. Let's see if we can start rounding this back up. If we could do that, then the measured move approximately from this measurement here would be around $55. Wow. But that is on log scale. So, but you know, it's kind of difficult to measure things with crypto. I mean, in regards when charts are on log scale, because I'd rather much use Fibonacci. So if we use Fibonacci, you know, you're looking at $25 on log scale on the high end. The low end, you're looking at $6 to $7, up to $17, right? Anywhere in these levels. So I would average it out maybe about $10. So yeah, I think it's got a good 10x position here on Pro. So all right, still looking for Matic to come up in a retrace. Same thing with AVAX. I'm looking for a little bit better of a retrace. You know, once we start getting into the retracement levels, then it becomes a little bit more challenging. Like Algorand had a good day. It looks like it's in the retracement levels now, right? So, but if you notice, Algorand actually broke out. Wow, look at that. So we flagged out in here. So this is kind of where Theta is. It's kind of where a few others like near protocol, I think, is right in here. So yeah, getting that wave to the upside, that's a good sign for Algorand. Total 3. Oh wow, look at total 3, guys. Whoa, this is bullish. This looks like the grand finale here. Okay, I like the 4-hour better. Oh, look at the 2-hour. Okay, so look at this, guys. This looks bullish. This is an ascending triangle. This is an ascending triangle, guys. This is bullish. Look at this. We're about to break out very soon. Doesn't mean today. It doesn't mean today. It means soon. Look. We're coiling. We're coiling. We're coiling. We could coil even further before breaking out. What's the measured move? The measured move, I like to do it from here. Approximately 840 billion. So, how much is that from where we are now? That's about 60, 80, yeah, that's 60 to 80 billion though. So yeah, it looks great. If we zoom out a little bit, yeah, it looks like it's coiling up. So ascending triangles typically break to the upside. 70% chance of breaking to the upside, but sometimes they do break to the downside. I doesn't look like it's going to break to the down. It looks very bullish, especially right here. You have this impulse, and then you have this three-way pullback. Impulse, three-way pullback, right? So let's get another impulse and go. So anyways, that'll do it. I will catch you guys on the next one. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you can hit the like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you guys think. If there's any coin you want me to take a look at, drop them in the comment section below. If you're interested in trading strategies, if you're looking for more in-depth trading analysis, then just click join, you know, where the subscribe button is. Click join and try it out for a couple months and see if it's beneficial. If it's not, then just quit. But for me, I like to explain things, you know, in an educational way, right? So that, you know, I'm not just giving you the answers, I'm explaining how I got my answers. It's kind of like math. Like I go up and give my homework to the math teacher, and the math teacher says, nope, I don't accept it. And it's like, why? I answered all the questions. No, but you didn't show your work. How did you get there? You know, you didn't show your work. It's like, oh man, I got to go back and show my work. So that's kind of like a technical analysis, right? You got to, how did you get to that conclusion? You know what I mean? So anyways, that'll do it. I will catch you on the next one.